Great. All right, well today, welcome to the Viterbi Career Services Workshop on Co-op and Internship. Just to introduce ourselves to you, this is Brooke Rodsatter and I'm Candace House. We're upstairs in RTH 218, so you definitely want to stop by and visit us, either about our events or any advising that you might have for your career. But today we want to talk about how you can start to attain real work experience while you're a student here at USC. So what we're going to talk about, first off, cooperative education. What is cooperative education? What is a co-op? The qualifications to actually join our co-op program, as well as the planning process you need to start thinking about as a possible co-op participant. You also would like to start thinking about your schedule as a student and how participating in a co-op might affect that, as well as the benefits to participating in a co-op program. We're also going to go over a few of the frequently asked questions we have from students when they're about to join a co-op or when they're considering or deciding between a co-op and an internship. And finally, with internships, we're going to discuss what is an internship, the qualifications for academic credit that you need to consider if you would like to do a non-paid internship and receive technical elective credit as an engineering student, and of course, the benefits of an internship. And finally, the steps to finding both. So Brooke's going to go ahead and get started with defining a co-op. And pardon us as we pass the mic back and forth because we are being recorded.
Okay, hello everyone. Okay, first off, how many of you know what a co-op is? Or have heard of a co-op or know someone that's done a co-op? Okay, good. Well, I'm just going to go over the general idea of a co-op is your opportunity to get up to a year of paid work-related work experience in your area of interest, field of study. It's a unique opportunity to take time out from your academic studies and get that experience for when you graduate. Most co-ops you work a summer and an adjacent semester. So you're either working a summer and fall semester or a summer and spring semester for the same company, full-time, 30 to 40 hours a week. The beauty of a co-op is that as you're working during the semester, you're still considered a full-time student by registering for a course, ENGR 395, or the graduate level course. We'll get into that later. But you're still considered a full-time student, but you are not taking a full course load. So you still have the benefits of being a full-time USC student, but you're working full-time on-site at a company. Let's see. It is similar to an internship, but as I've said, internships are usually shorter. This is longer, reoccurring experience, and it's more educational in nature. And we'll go over the differences between internships and co-ops later. But, and also you can receive technical elective credit. So when you enroll in this class, it also serves a double purpose of giving you technical elective credit. And Candace will go over how you receive that credit later. So also you can alternate academic semesters. Co-ops are different at every company. So some companies will have you work a summer and wait and then work a spring. Some companies will ask you to work 2 semesters. It just depends on the co-op, and where USC is flexible, and most companies are pretty flexible with setting that up based on your schedule. So based on that, does anyone have any questions? Okay, so why co-op? There are many benefits of co-op, and we're really promoting co-op because it is such a unique opportunity to get almost a full year of work experience when you graduate. And it gives you great experience to bring back to the classroom. So here we have listed some of the benefits. Applying knowledge and skills obtained in the classroom. So it gives you a way to connect what you're learning in the classroom to how you'll be applying it after you graduate. So the idea is when you come back to class, you'll also take that knowledge and it'll give you a new perspective on your classwork and see how it relates to the real world. It gives you a chance to evaluate potential careers. You may be working at one company, but you may be working on several different projects from beginning to end in different areas. Some co-ops give you rotations where you work in different areas under different supervisors, different departments. So it really gives you the opportunity to evaluate what types of projects you like working on and what different areas in a company you'd like to work in. develop maturity and responsibility in a real-world work environment. And basically what this means is you're being immersed into their culture, and you're working full-time, and you're being treated as a full-time employee, receiving supervision. So you're really getting a taste of what it's like to be in a real world. You are a full-time employee for almost 8 months, and you get to see what that feels like. So it gives you an edge when you graduate to kind of know what to expect when you graduate. And as you go through the job search process, give you a better perspective on what it's going to be like. Again, you maintain full-time student status. You receive technical elective credit and get paid. And most co-ops are paid, or all co-ops are paid, and pretty competitively. So they know that you are living off of this money and you're getting paid to work full-time. So they compensate for that. Establish company contacts and increase your network. So you're working and you're being mentored and you're being supervised, and you're also increasing your contacts with fellow students that are there doing co-op. So you have all of this knowledge at your fingertips from the people that you're working with. So hopefully the idea is that you may work for this company after you graduate, and if you don't, you might use some of those contacts to find out about other companies. Maybe they know contacts elsewhere. And you increase your marketability to employers. Again, hold on just a second. Do you have a question? Yeah.
So this pushes back your graduation by a semester at least, usually?
Usually, and we'll get more into that. So, and that's depending on which type of co-op program you do, but generally it is 1 semester.
So then assuming it pushes it back that semester and financial aid is only good for 4 years, does it extend through that, or do you have a semester where you're out of luck?
Okay, the question is about financial aid, and we're going to get into that. And we're going to cover financial aid, health care, all of that, and how that works with a co-op. Good question, but we'll get to it in just a second. Okay, so you're increasing your marketability. A lot of people do co-ops on the East Coast, and it's actually required in a lot of programs. So there are a lot of students out there looking for jobs that have co-op experience. So out here, I mean, look at it as a way to increase your marketability to these companies that you want to work for. Co-op is looked very highly upon from recruiters because they know how valuable that experience is. And you can learn from a mentor in your field. Most co-op programs, they supply a mentor, and you're asked to give presentations, and they'll help you with those presentations, and they'll kind of help you along the way. And then things to consider for co-op. One of the biggest things to increase your options and opportunities for co-op is to consider relocating out of LA for a semester in a summer. There are many co-ops across the country, and if you're open to moving outside of LA, then your opportunities are very vast. So I would definitely recommend that. And also you get to experience a new city, and you might find that you love living outside of LA, and you increase your network outside of LA, which is always good. So now that you kind of know what a co-op is, or I hope you do, and we'll get to the other questions in a minute, there are a couple of qualifications. For undergraduate students, we ask for a minimum GPA of 2.6, and this is just so you have a solid grounding in your academics, and so it doesn't interfere with your academics. Minimum of 3 semesters completed, so beginning of your sophomore year, you can start thinking about applying, and this also includes courses taken at or semesters taken at other institutions. Work assignments must be directly related to engineering major. So if you're in biomedical, hopefully you'll be working in that area of interest, and that is all approved through our office. So based on your job description and offer letter and the tasks that you'll be doing, we'll be able to tell if it is related to your area of study. So work assignments must be on site, and again, that's part of the co-op experience is the education that you're receiving on the job, interacting with people, the whole experience of being out in the real world working environment. So most assignments will be on site. All assignments will be on site. Consulting positions do not qualify for co-op. And you must work a minimum of 20 hours a week, and again, this is because the idea is to totally immerse you into that culture and get the full experience of being in the real world and seeing what it's like. So, and for graduate students, are there any graduate students here? Okay. The co-op program actually to register for the courses and go through all the requirements goes through another office, and it's the Graduate Student Affairs Office, which are you familiar with? It's in okay. Well, it's in OHE 332. So you can just go there and meet with their advisor there, or you can come to us and ask us questions or the name of who you would talk to. So it's the same idea, just a few different requirements. And next, Candace will go over some planning steps.
Great. All right, so now that you understand what a co-op is, you might be thinking, okay, I think I could do this. You might have made a connection on your own with a company that offers co-ops, or maybe you want to come see us about some of the co-op contacts that we have. So these are the steps that you need to do if you're really considering participating in a co-op. First thing is you want to make sure you stop by our office, set up an appointment to meet with either Brooke or myself so we can start the process with you. We want to make sure that you meet the qualifications, that we're able to work with you one-on-one to make sure you understand why you want to do a co-op, if it's feasible for your actual major, and if it's something that would be a good fit to your career plans. So you want to set up an appointment so we can begin some paperwork and have you on our co-op list. Next, you'll want to meet with your academic advisor from your major department. This is so you can start to plan your schedule with your academic advisor to see if your courses are going to remain in sequence if you leave for one academic semester. So with the beauty of distance education and some other options for our juniors and seniors, there are students who maybe take 1 or 2 courses while they're working on site. If you're a sophomore or junior, you're going to have to do a lot more planning with your advisor to see, okay, what if I'm gone for a fall semester? What if I'm not on campus for a spring semester? So you can make sure that all of your courses stay in sequence, and you need to meet with your academic advisor in order to do so. And they are aware of co-op and are willing to meet with you guys to make this happen. When you meet with your advisor, you're also going to discuss your expected graduation date. When you're mapping out your schedule, you want to map it from beginning to end until your date of graduation. So you know, is this going to push you back 1 semester? Is this going to push you back a year? What do you need to do to plan accordingly? So that's why meeting with your department advisor is very important. The third step is actually securing a co-op position. And we're going to go into the process of finding a co-op and finding an internship as well as full-time positions. It's the same process. So we'll talk about that as well. Finally, you want to register for the co-op course with your career services advisor, which would be either Brooke or I. By meeting with us, you are registering for the course so you can get academic credit. The course that you would register for as an undergraduate would be Engineering 395. If you're a graduate student, you're going to meet with Graduate Student Affairs and register for Engineering 596. Part of the co-op course, or part of how you can get graded for the co-op course and get technical elective credit, is you register with us, we give you clearance, you register for your course, and then you complete a 10-page technical report at the end of your co-op. And it's from that report that someone, a faculty member in your academic department, will decide whether or not you receive technical credit or elective credit. So by registering for this course, even though you're only going to be registered for 1 course for the academic semester, you're still going to be an active full student here at the university, and that course enables you to do so. So there's 2 course options, either 395 for an undergraduate or 596 for a graduate student. For our F1 visa students, there is a different process. Do we have any? Actually, you don't have to raise your hand, but if this applies to you, just so you know, if you're an undergraduate student, you do need to make sure that you complete a curricular practical training application. This is available in the Office of International Services, which is in Student Union 300. You would then complete that application and bring it to our office for our signatures. Just to remember, if you are an F1 visa student, you can work 40 hours for both your summer and adjacent semesters, and you would just need to complete your CPT application. If you are a graduate student, you do need to, again, get approval from the Graduate Student Affairs Office and, again, complete the CPT paperwork. All of that paperwork will be signed by your Graduate Student Affairs advisor. You want to be it's something to remember if you're a graduate student who's F1 visa. Interesting rules for you guys. You want to remember that if you want to participate in a co-op, the last and final semester of your co-op, you can only have 4 units left to complete. So if you are thinking of doing a summer, fall co-op for next year, that December 07, that actual fall semester 07, you can only have 1 4-unit course needed to complete. If you have 2 classes that you need to take fall 2007, you cannot participate in a co-op. You need to have only 1 course left, and that is a rule given by Graduate Student Affairs, and we could talk about it with you in detail, or you can go to their office for further clarification. There are different rules for different undergraduate students, graduate students, if you're F1 visa, or if you're able to work in the United States without any H1 visa sponsorship. This is a sample schedule of an industrial systems engineer who is thinking about doing co-op. They actually met with their advisor, and out came this schedule. They have their normal first year completed, fall and spring semester. You can see they planned their fall and spring semester for their second year. Then they decided to do a co-op summer of their junior year and fall of their junior year. So they're not on campus. They're doing 2 semesters of co-op. Then they came back for the spring, started taking their 4 semesters, or their 4 courses, and you can see that they added 1 additional semester, a 5th year, this ISC student who participated in co-op. This is the type of map that you're going to get when you meet with your academic advisor. This is what you're looking for. And I know something that always concerns students is, I'm staying an extra semester, I want to graduate on time. I want to graduate with everybody else in my class. Well, one thing you do want to remember is students that participate in co-op are very marketable. And most of the students who participate in co-op, they have around a 98% conversion to full-time hire. So by working with that company for 2 semesters, they usually have a position waiting for you when you graduate. So it's something to think about and how you can make yourself a little bit more marketable in a very competitive job market. So some of the frequently asked questions that we have, your first question is exactly it. What happens to my financial aid and my housing and my health insurance status? We take care of everything. That's part of the planning process. You need to meet with us. We're in contact with the health insurance status or health insurance group here on campus, financial aid. Everything is deferred as if you are a student for that semester. So everything works out perfectly. You just need to meet with us. We take care of all the paperwork. We work with you one-on-one. You are a case with us. So if you're thinking of doing this and you're wondering about your status, let us know. Just pretend that you're on campus for that semester. That's physically how it seems. Yes?
Since you're enrolled in a class, is there tuition?
There is tuition. And what usually happens with companies is they'll pay you an hourly wage and they'll give you a stipend to cover your tuition costs. The course is 2 units for the fall and spring, 1 unit for the summer, and all of our co-op companies right now cover the tuition costs, or at least a portion of it. So it's not something
And also
that's a deciding factor.
You can set up payment options for if it's not all covered by the company, you can set up pay monthly through the semester, so you can spread it out. Say they cover $1,000 and it's $2,000 total. You can cover the last $1,000 from your wages, but spread it out. So we'll work with you on that too to set it up so that you can do it. So we don't want that to be a reason why you wouldn't do a co-op. So.
And for your particular co-op or your co-op package or co-op case, as we call it, we are working directly with financial aid on your behalf and housing on your behalf and healthcare on your behalf. So you don't have to worry about the paperwork and the lines. We'll take care of that with you. And that's why it's important that you just come to us and meet with us one-on-one, and we'll make sure that we plan the steps with you so everything is taken care of when you need to leave for the 2 semesters. And we have students that have gone to Washington, D.C. and other places across the country. So it's all worked out, and we want to make sure that it's very easy and seamless for you guys. Mm-hmm. We haven't had any international co-op, and it's something we're exploring, but we haven't done it yet. If you are thinking about doing an international co-op, let us know, and we'll see if it's feasible. Oh.
Coming up.
We're working on one in Sweden coming up, so let us know. We'll work with you. What companies are co-op students allowed to work? Students may work at any company as long as your experience is technical. So we want to make sure, if you're a computer science student, or actually let me rephrase, if you're a biomedical engineer and you're offered a position doing web design for a company that is not at all doing anything in biomedical engineering, that would not be approved as a co-op. So we need to see the job descriptions. We need to have an offer letter of what's you're actually going to be doing for these 2 semesters. This is part of the planning process. So you want to make sure that this is a fit to your major. And when you come to us, we let you know if it's something that would be approved as co-op. How does a student receive credit? Well, receiving credit for the co-op is completing your paperwork, completing your technical paper at the end of your course, whether it's Engineering 395 or 596. And if you complete your paperwork and your paper, then you'll receive credit. It's going to be decided if it's technical elective credit or just elective credit based on the faculty member who is reviewing your paper. And for the most part, most of the students get technical elective credit because you're making sure that you're writing a really good technical report. And we have samples of the reports for you guys, so when you actually start your co-op, you can see what we expect. It's part of the actual course. Some other frequently asked questions Brooke is going to go over.
Kind of covered them. I think we mostly covered them, but does everyone understand about the graduation, pushing back the graduation date a little? So you'll just meet with your advisor and kind of explore how that would affect your graduation date. Another thing is, like Candace was saying, just remember the benefits of a co-op outweighing that additional semester. So that's something to consider and talk to us about, or an advisor if that's something you want to do. So I know students are sometimes like a little timid to graduate a semester later than your peers, but in the long run, it does have some tangible benefits, including higher salary after graduation, if that's of interest to you. And then, do I earn money as a co-op? Yes, they do. You would earn money as a co-op, and again, some companies cover the tuition. So, and then registering for the ENGR 395 co-op class, if the co-op position meets the requirements, then you would register for the class through us. So, and again, we have on there that some companies will reimburse. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about co-op before we move on to internship? Anything, any questions? Okay. So an internship, are most of you, who's familiar with an internship? Okay, a lot of you. So an internship is, you're getting a lot of the same benefits of a co-op, but it's a shorter experience. It's supervised work experience, usually related to your major field, and you're usually just working summer part-time, full-time, part-time during the school year, and full-time maybe during the summer, but it's usually shorter. So and it can be full, part-time, on or off campus, paid or unpaid. And this is kind of more testing the waters. So you're interested in a certain company and they have an internship working part-time during the year, so you want to kind of find out more about that company. You're probably not going to be given as much responsibility as you would in a co-op, but you're able to see the culture and see some projects that you would work on. A lot of students do 2 to 3 internships while they're in school and kind of explore different companies, different areas that you would be working in different companies. So it's a good way to gain exposure to a wide variety of occupations. And test out career areas of interest and obtain career-related experience. Again, this is valuable experience that you'll be putting on your resume and be using in the job search process to know what you want to do to kind of define your job search and be able to use that experience in your interviewing and how you can bring something to the table from that experience. And again, much like a co-op, you develop and enhance your marketable skills, and you can increase your network, and it's usually, again, during the summer or part-time during the academic year. So, and a lot of companies are on campus recruiting for internships and co-ops, so something to think about if you would rather try an internship before jumping into a co-op. So internship, why internship? Again, it's a way for you to safely test the waters and see what a certain area, see a certain company firsthand and see if you'd like to work there, maybe do a co-op there, or maybe work full-time after you graduate. It enables you to be more competitive, you'll develop your skills, allows you to explore career options, and again, expands your network of contacts. And you know, one thing with an internship is that you can really test the water. If you have an experience in the summer and you're not really sure about it, you might discover that you don't like a certain area that you're working in, and so you want to stay at that company and try a different area. So you get a different type of internship at that company. Or you might discover that you didn't really like you loved what you were doing, but you didn't really like the company culture. So then you might try to find another company where you like the culture. So it's a good way to kind of discover what you like and what you don't like about the real world working environment. And then steps to finding a co-op and internship. Maybe you're going to go over that.
All right, so if you're now thinking, that you'd like to do either a co-op or an internship, here are just some steps in order to get started. First off, you should definitely try to speak with your academic advisor or come talk to us in Career Services. We want to make sure that you're academically ready to participate in either. If you are suffering academically or if you have a lot of extracurricular activities where working might be difficult, we want to make sure that you realize that you should have a balance between what you're doing here as a student at USC and what you might be doing in industry. You also want to make sure that if you're looking at co-op, that we get the administrative portion of co-op started with you guys. It's paperwork, but we work with you on the paperwork. We complete the paperwork with you. We just want to make sure that you're planning out the entire process. So if you're thinking of getting academic credit for either a co-op or an internship, come talk to us. Now, finding a position, you have many methods. The first method is by looking at Monster Track, Interview Track, or the job binders that we have in the Career Services office. How many of you are on Interview Track? Okay, perfect. If you are not on Interview Track, come upstairs to RTH 218 and we will get you on Interview Track. Any of the companies that are interviewing on campus in our facilities or companies that are completing resume drops, they are all on the Interview Track system. Any company that is not online, they're in binders in our office with positions posted so you can contact them directly. So you want to start utilizing those options. And we have a binder for co-op and internships separated according to major, and we have a binder for full-time positions that are in the office as well. Career fairs and information sessions. If you are not planning on attending the career fair, you actually should plan on attending the career fair. It's October 12th, Thursday, October 12th. We have around 80 to 90 companies out there. They're hiring for co-op, internship, and full-time positions. We have Alcon Labs, Cisco, IBM. Some really large companies are looking for co-op students, so you want to start making those connections at the career fairs. You also want to make sure that you attend our information sessions. Information sessions are offered almost every evening during the week except on Fridays, and they're workshops hosted by companies, and they're letting you know about the opportunities within their company for your majors. So tonight we have Google speaking, tomorrow McCarthy Building Companies, next week Northrop Grumman. All of these companies are on our calendar. They're also in the special events section of the Weekly Wire. So an information session is a great place to start making networking connections with recruiters and finding out if there's a co-op opportunity or an internship opportunity for you. And just like full-time positions are hired in our office, co-op and internship hiring goes on as well. It's part of the same job process. You want to make sure you also take a look at corporate websites and look at online industry job postings according to your professional association. So if you're an electrical engineer, you might want to visit the IEEE site and try to find out what postings are there. If you are in love with a company that isn't currently recruiting with us, go to their corporate website, go to their job posting section and see if there are any opportunities. So visit corporate websites and visit websites for professional organizations. That's another way to start making connections. And finally, you want to think about that network that you have, your own personal network. And you've started to create a network. Brooke and I are in your network right now. You can network with us and try to pick our brain and see if we have any contacts that might be good for you. Your family, your friends, and of course your faculty here have a lot of contacts in industry. They have a lot of research contacts if you're looking at research opportunities. So you have a lot of people to start to network with. So start building that network. Come to the career conference. Come to the career fair. Come to information sessions. Collect some cards. Send some emails and begin your personal network. We actually have a networking workshop that you might want to attend to learn a little bit more about building your network. So these are just ways for you to start thinking about finding a co-op and an internship. So just to quickly compare the two, they both, cooperative education and internships, they both have the same goal. It's to provide you with practical experience while you are a student. Real work experience while you are currently enrolled at the university. The number of semesters do differ. If you are thinking of cooperative education, you're going to have 2 consecutive semesters working at a full-time basis, while with an internship, you're looking at 1 semester, either full-time during the summer or part-time during the academic school year. Years in school, usually for co-op, you'll start your late sophomore semester, so you want to have 3 semesters completed here at USC or in your junior year. Now for internships, companies are hiring students after their freshman year. It used to be after your sophomore year, but now they're looking for younger and younger candidates. You guys are sharp. So it's never too early to start looking for an internship. For your work assignments, Cooperative education, just because of the length of time you're with a company, you're going to have work assignments similar to how it is when you're a full-time employee. You're going to start off kind of slow on a project, and then you're going to take on some projects on your own. And you're getting a lot of hands-on experience with projects because you're there for 40 hours a week. They can invest that time in training you because they know you're going to be there for 4 to 6 months. With an internship, you are coming in at the same level as most interns, and you'll probably have a mentor and work with someone one-on-one, but you probably won't have your own project to work on, but you'll work very closely with somebody on their project, or they might give you a smaller project to work on. So the scope and the depth of the type of work that you're going to do in a co-op versus an internship will vary from company to company. For training, most of the training for a co-op is provided by the employer, and less training is provided by the employer for an internship. And again, it's about investing time. They know you're going to be there for 4 to 6 months every day from 9 to 5, just like them. They're going to invest a lot of time in training you because they could see the benefits. They could see the return. With an intern, you might be there 2 hours Monday and Wednesday, and they might not have as much time to invest in training you. So again, it just depends on how many hours you're working during your internship and how much time you're putting in to trying to learn from the mentors that you're working with in internship. Most of our intern students have to be a little bit more proactive in asking for more projects and asking questions in order to make sure that they could take on a little bit more responsibility because they're not there for a longer length of time. Let's see. Academic credit. If you're trying to get academic credit for co-op, engineering $395 for our undergraduate students and engineering $595 for our graduate students. If you are looking for internship credit, and again, not all internships need academic credit. You might get a paid internship and you don't need to register for the class. But if you're working for an employer who wants to give you academic credit, you have some options. If you are qualified for engineering $395, and by qualified, the way you're qualified is it needs to be engineering related to your major. You need to work a minimum of 20 hours a week for them. And that's pretty much it. Those are the 2 rules. And if you're qualified, then you can enroll for engineering $395 and get technical credit. If you're working less than 20 hours a week, if it's outside of your major, you still have options for credit. You just need to go to the Career Planning and Placement Center on the center of campus, and there are courses that you could register for then. So if you're a computer science student if you're a biomedical student who's building websites in a non-BME company, you could still get academic credit. It just wouldn't be technical elective credit through our office. And we have all of the courses and the course names to help you get any credit that you may need. For co-op, most of the positions, all the positions are paid. For internship, it varies. You might be volunteering and getting academic credit and not getting paid, or you might get an hourly wage for your internship. And finally, for postgraduate opportunities, most students who participate in co-op do get higher salaries and higher levels of responsibility than students who have just completed an intern. And it's because they see you with real work experience in the industry, similar to someone who's already completed a full-time entry-level position. And an internship is always very good to have real work experience. And those students definitely have an edge over other students who have not had industry experience at all. So both are very great, and it just depends on what you can plan in your schedule and the connections that you make. Any questions? It's a lot of information. So these are all ways that you can start making connections in industry and working while you're a student. So Brooke and I are always a resource for you guys, and internships are the most popular because you have a summer and you're probably home during the summer, you're in the LA area, but co-op is definitely an option you want to start thinking about as well. Okay? Well, thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
I brought the co-op binder too if anyone's interested in looking at the companies who are coming on campus to interview. I brought it. We also have the internship binder.
Thank you.